And gentlemen, welcome back to the Saints broadcast. And boy, do we have an exciting matchup for you guys today. We have NACE Varsity plus a grand finals. It's Rocket League, our Saints Academy team, taking on Wichita State University. On the desk, we have me, the host, Theo, known as the Holy Juan. Got Wyatt, known as Swag Studios. And on the end, we got Patrick Smoke Chambers. Guys, how are you feeling for this matchup today?
Well, it's Rocket League, and if I can say anything for myself, Patrick, I think I can speak for you as well. It's just a game that I love to cast and I always love to watch. And with our academy team, they are not far from stellar talent as a whole group. And I'm going to be excited to see how they take on against Wichita here because they have some history behind them, Patrick.
Yeah, they do. You know what? This is a very interesting matchup. The last time that we saw Wichita State going up against St. Clair, we actually saw it in the earlier in the regular season, a best of 5 in it. Well, it went the distance all 5 games. St. Clair ACAD, they came out on top, but at the same time, these guys now from Wichita State, they're here for their sweet revenge. It's what they're going to be looking forward to. And I mean, Wyatt, tonight, it's definitely the perfect opportune moment. A best of 7 series, but only one can take it home.
It is indeed a great opportunity because we don't get to see many best of sevens in Rocket League. And something that I love to see with the best of seven is it's not like your normal game because obviously everybody here to play, here is ready, is at a high level. We can say that. But that's not what you need to be practicing at this level. You need to be practicing communication. You need to be practicing teamwork because as much as you could grind and grind and grind and put so many hours into this game to try and get better, you're going to put so much more time into working together as a team and you're going to reap so many more rewards.
Absolutely, and I mean, reaping rewards is what we're all here for. It's why we love esports, and honestly, I can't just start talking about it more enough without getting even more excited because ACAD is something that we just don't see all that often. I remember I was casting them earlier this year. Had it one time, I believe back then the roster was Fatal, True, and Kipper at the time. It might have even been when they were facing off. Oh, sorry, when they were facing off against our gold team, and it didn't go so well. But that's to be expected. Those guys have all grown from then. Though we've seen some of those guys go to our gold roster. We've seen some of them go into the ACAD roster and stay there. But at the same time, they've been making some insane improvements. We know that they even qualified to Bluegrass, right? Kentucky land. So it's something that's very interesting, and these guys are definitely refreshed.
Indeed, they definitely have some achievements to back up their statements, why they deserve to be a Rocket League team here, and why they are our academy team. And I mean, talk about a couple of the talent pieces that we had. I think you mentioned a couple of them, Ramen and Spoods. Definitely going to be interested to
Yes.
see how they play today. And then the rest of the roster, seeing, I think, is going to be very interesting. And how they go into this game is something that I'm going to be looking for because I think in all Saints Clair's team, all of the teams here at St. Clair, you got to start hard and you got to start quick. And you know what, Theo? I hear we're gonna get look at the roster.
Yeah, let's take a look at our roster a little bit newer, a little bit updated. Spoods, Ramen, and Kipper. Obviously, Spoods and Kipper, a couple veterans on the team, and Ramen sliding in beautifully. They've peaked at the right time. They made it to the finals, and it's going to be very important for them to play their best today. You know, they want to be champions after such a grueling season, a grueling playoffs. They're here for a reason, and they're looking to take the crown home.
You know, I was gonna say just familiar faces, right? When we see Ramen, Spoods, Kipper's been here at the program for a little bit as well. A little bit of a note on all 3 of them because I know that Theo, this is a callback. We were casting some of these guys back in our day. I know we're just kind of unk now. Well, the new young guns are here. Wyatt, this is your opportunity moment to start with these guys as well. But Spood's a quality player in his own right, someone who's very good defensively as well, an extremely defensively minded player. Doesn't mess up a whole lot on the backboard and is great at generating clears. Also, just has some insane on-ball mechanics. Kipper as well, someone who is, again, even more mechanical in my opinion, and is probably has the most potential, at least offensively. But I think an issue with what I've seen before from Kipper is that he is someone who I think could take control of an offense and be that floor general. The problem is sometimes when he plays with these rosters, I see him sometimes have to take more of a reserved role in the third man. Sometimes I feel like he gets a little bit forced back there. And at the same time, look, if that's just how the rotation breaks down, that's how that breaks down. You don't want to break that mid-game and screw up your whole flow. But I feel like something that I really want to see from our ACAD teams, or even just Kipper in general, is that ability to completely unlock. And I haven't really seen that thus far, but I know he can definitely do it. A little note on Ramen as well. We've seen a lot of the same playstyle from Jazzy, in my opinion, from what I saw last year. He's usually the one who is the frontline enforcer. He's making demos, stealing boost, making sure defenders are off position. And he's really dangerous when cutting into rotation looking for follow-up shots.
I mean, you tell me about Spoods and you tell me about Kipper. You're telling me that we got the Picasso and the Da Vinci of Rocket League on this team. Both very mechanical, and talk about Spoods himself on that backboard, just absolutely painting a masterpiece back there. And then to add Ramen in there as well, you know, you say he's kind of like the Jazzy of this team. That is far from anything out of perfection. Ramen is a critical piece of this team because, as you
Absolutely.
mentioned, he has to apply that aggression. He has to get bumps. He has to get people out of rotation. And if you're not going to have that player there, not that disruptive factor who is going to try and stop the team from keeping their flow, you're just going to get rolled if they have a better flow than you.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a best of 7, so again, it's going to be a very hard fought series regardless. Obviously, the last one went to game 5, but let's see how it ends up now. As we have Wichita State, we have St. Clair, and we have Solus immediately putting one in the back of the net. So we see the rosters confirmed as Aqua, Shega, and Solus. And man, jumping off to a quick start, Wichita State, they couldn't wait any longer than 2 seconds to start the revenge.
I think we need to keep Guinness World Records of quickest goals in Rocket League, because that definitely has to be one of the quickest ones that I've ever seen. But nonetheless, this is not going to be a quick and easy done one, or is it? Looks like Tashiga is going to be able to get another one on the board for Wichita. So far, St. Clair Academy not off to an ideal start.
Well, it's just unfortunate. A little bit of a mistake there. And Tashiga just does a really good job of capitalizing on the mistake and uses the positioning to just slot that one through. There's no one there on the back waiting. So seems like St. Clair, they definitely look a little bit antsy yet nervous going into the start of the series. Going to be Ramen with a little bit of a miss, and now Kipper is in a weird position. The demo comes through, and oh man, that was very close. But St. Clair, they've just barely done enough there to stay alive.
Yep, now giving it over to Kipper. Has a little bit of control right now, but no, Tashiga's got
Good
bumped
pass.
out. Ramen to Kipper! A great way to pull a little bit of some team coordination there to get yourself back into the game.
Yeah, and you know what? I mentioned it before, how Kipper sometimes gets drowned out and put on that third-man role. But something I think that I really am looking forward to seeing from this team is, since Spoods is just such a defensively minded player and is so good as that third man, seeing Kipper finally unlock himself in the offense, we're going to see some special things, and I'm glad that we saw him and Ramen link up there for an amazing team play.
And you talk about special, Tashiga almost took out 2 defenders, but luckily was stopped by the St. Clair defense. Now Kipper's got it past one, but does Ramen have the touch? No, he doesn't. He doesn't have enough boost to play with it, so he has to play back now. Looks like it's bounced off the Kohler beautifully for Aqua, but Ramen has a great save there, and a not so desirable pinch out there, but you know what? It's still in their control at the halfway point right now. Solus trying to bump it back to their side, but every time a player from Wichita gets up there, someone from St. Clair Academy is there to meet them.
Yeah, at least from a comms level, I know it's a little bit early to call out, but it looks very clean. This is great from Ramen. His fakes have been amazing in the past. I know that for a fact. It's something you got to watch out in his arsenal, and he almost got the bump, or at least was looking for one on the goal line as well, but that's going to be an offensive opportunity squandered for St. Clair. So Wichita State now moving down the offense. Aqua finds a bump on one, and now Tashiga is going to be next up, has the reset, but is now going to try to see the ground pinch, but can't quite get to it in time, and St. Clair, they should be able to clear it off that.
So far, they're on the right pace, and if it's something that I can just highlight as a small thing that they need to work on, it's definitely a little bit more of that communication. You know, they're great on getting the attacking end, and when they do, they get on point, almost on point there from Ramen, but luckily, Spoods is there to clean it up, and those are the kinds of plays that we need to keep seeing.
Well, you know what? Ramen, you couldn't get the job done at least there, but it forces the double commit, and everyone's in a horrible position. Kipper, selfless play, goes for the demo on net just to confirm that the shooter has a free lane. And there you go. Spoods puts it through. St. Clair, they establish their equalizer, but how long will they be able to keep it for? That is an unfortunate whiff there. It's not something you see very often, but so far, Wichita State, it just seems like the kickoffs have been on their side.
To answer your question, I'd say they give them 3 seconds to keep that lead, keep that equalized goal line, and now Wichita have got it back in their own hands, and it's so far just been a battle of the kickoffs, because the kickoff is what gave Wichita majority of their goals early on, and St. Clair have been able to come back, and look at that. Great coordination from St. Clair. I mean, we talk about getting aggressive, we talk about being up there, and there it was. It with Spoods. They're ready to get the demo out, and then Ramen just there for a little bit of safety.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, seeing Spoods with the shot, it's very nice, but I was going to say, you've highlighted it perfectly. Kipper with the demo to start it off was definitely what gave the open lane away, and I love seeing that from Kipper, getting more aggressive. Just like I said, I know he can unlock offensively and have a lot of creativity on the floor, so seeing some of that go through there is nice. But Spoods on ball should have the open lane. This should be an easy ground pinch slot, an overcommit from Wichita State, and they've given away everything in the defensive end.
So far, I'm loving what both teams are bringing to the table, and Patrick, that's a lot of aggression, that's a lot of offense, and some moments like these on both sides of the pitch, teams are lacking a little bit in defense, which we've got a best of 7 on our hands, and there's more than enough time to talk to your teammates and say, okay guys, we're sucking on the defense, how can we improve?
Well, again, you know, it also could just be nerves, right? I mean, you're in a grand finals, it's the first game. I can sort of see where players are just going to have to kind of warm up their hands a little bit as the series kind of goes on, but as the demo comes through, who knows? Wichita State, they might not even give St. Clair the time to warm up. This one's going to be off the backboard. A great pass, a decent fake for a low 50, but Aqua just not able to put that one through St. Clair. They had reinforcements waiting.
Ramen up to it now, gets it over one, looking for the pass over to Spoods, doesn't get it, but luckily enough, Kipper is there for the safety, something that we'd love to see that third man do.
You know what? It's a good read by Solus here, but at the same time, how do you just stop the follow-up shot? That was placed in absolute perfect spacing. There is no defender coming off of that save that can recover fast enough to get that one, so a very decent shot in St. Clair. Yeah, like you say, they have their safety net, but right now they're going to see if they can even widen the gap some more. This follow-up shot's going to be taken off. It was Spoods who decided to instead rotate back. Didn't want to overcommit. He thought he was beat. A decent beat there from, I believe it's Ramen, but no, can't just get the confirm. It's tough, but it was a hard angle. Aqua off the wall, has a reset. Elects to use it to the sidewall, passes down to Tashiga. Back down to Aqua and has a centering pass. Tashiga, one more off the ceiling. Where's Solus? Just getting beaten out, and another overcommit. This should be an easy double tap, but no, just barely. Didn't get quite enough touch or surface area on the ball did Spoods do for that shot, but it's all good. St. Clair, they will have more opportunities waiting in line.
Spoods has definitely earned my style points right now, trying to go for that shot, and it's a great shot to go for. It gives you a little bit of confidence going into the rest of the game if you can hit it. Nonetheless, St. Clair, they've still got the up here. They got a little bit of time to waste as well. Spoods going up for it, gets it over one, off the ceiling, doesn't have another touch, but great job from Kipper, able to fake them out. Spoods attempting to sell that he was going up from the top to try and hit it again, but then Kipper just came from the right side and was able to slot it through the last defender.
I mean, top upper decker, top left corner. Kipper has been a sniper so far in this matchup. He loves that area of the net, as that's his second goal in that part. So now, St. Clair up by 3. 37 seconds left. Wichita State, they're going to really need a miracle if they want to claw their way back into this one. It's most likely more than over, but at the same time, crazier things have happened. They'd need to score one almost immediately, like as in like right now, Wyatt, but I just don't think that's going to go down off the clear. St. Clair, they can just force touches high to waste boost, burn time, and just keep people back, and yeah, you might let 1 or 2 in, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Not enough time on the clock is now Wichita State. They try to see if they can mount one more attack. Reset should go in, but no! Great save, St. Clair. They were ready. They send the full house on defense, and it pays off.
You know, trying to get that last goal for Wichita to send them in a confident mood into the next game. But now, St. Clair, they were doubling their points, 6-3, and the boys are looking confident. I mean, you can see Kipper there, he's getting warmed up, and Spoods there with his fashionable glasses. These boys are happy, these boys are ready to go into the next game. Still a bit of a muscle show there as well from Kipper. Great way to start out the day positively.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, again, it's always good when we can sort of see the Rocket League guys in the academies just kind of have the vibes going, you know. It's always nice to see. Kipper is someone who I've known just as a friend in general, is always very energetic and also, like, light-spirited. So he's someone who can definitely keep the energy levels up. Spoods is a little more calm and relaxed, and so is Ramen. So a question that I would really had coming into the series was based on what I'd seen from Kipper playing before. I was very curious to how comms were going to work out because Ramen, from what I've seen in Spoods as well, usually a little more mellow, don't talk as much. And Kipper, when he was on the ACAD squad with Fatal earlier, it was kind of the same thing I was noticing and picking up on is that when he locks in, he kind of goes a little bit silent. So, again, comms are everything in Rocket League, and I know it's not the biggest game that gets talked about having an IGL, but I was very curious on who that would be. But from what it seems, everyone, they feel good. They're starting off strong. You can only hope they can continue their momentum from here, and they're going to do exactly just that. A beautiful pass, and Ramen slots the shot.
Yep, you know what? Wichita took a quick one on the first game, and now St. Clair is saying, you know what, we can take a quick one ourselves. Ramen was just up to it too quick for Aqua to try and deal with, and now they have the deficit. Wichita, they have to mount some kind of counterattack after this, but the kickoff is also going to go in the way of the Saints. Tashiga has a great hit up down to someone, but nobody is there to take it.
Spoods just had to be a little bit careful there. Good job from Kipper just baiting out the first one. Has to be able to force the flick as well. It's just barely off target, but at the same time, a decent clear nonetheless. Spoods called on, uses the flip to create another reset opportunity. Has maybe a double lying in the back, maybe a centering pass. It didn't work out. And now because of that, Wichita State will be able to work their way down the field. A decent bang clear though, and all of a sudden, they need to be on the back foot. Solus off the ceiling, trying to look for a ground pinch or maybe even a call out to one of his saluting players, and that will happen. And now they just need to work on the clear. St. Clair, it's not really amounting to too much offense so far, as I say that they've had their next opportunity, but it seems like we're playing a little bit of ping pong for now, Wyatt.
Indeed, I mean, the ball is going left, right, center. It's going from one side of the field to the next. Spoods is now going to try to pass it down over to Kipper. Kipper keeps composure and keeps control, though. Now it's coming off of the backboard. He's going to try to touch it again to pass it out to someone. Ramen is there to try and find something, but doesn't get anything. It's saved out by Tashiga. Now coming up on the offense. Almost had a shot there, but it was saved out by the St. Clair Saints defense, and now Spoods mounting the counterattack. Doesn't have enough boost, though, to get the tank and get over there. So now he's going to mount a little bit of a defense here. Kipper and Ramen have to hold down the fort as Wichita mount a lot of aggression so far. Both teams, as you said, it's been bouncing over like a ping pong ball, but it's only going to be a matter of time until it falls off the table.
I think the thing that I've seen a lot, though, is especially when the tempo gets picked up, St. Clair, they definitely feel a lot more comfortable, at least from what my eyes are watching right now, on the fast-paced offense. Spoods able to find the save right there and just clears it out, but not for very long. Aqua with a pinch. The center ball goes through, but it's just too far and deep for Solus to handle. Wichita State trying to elongate this offensive, see if they can try to find any follow-up shots, any follow-up opportunities, but it just doesn't seem like they're coming through. St. Clair, good discipline so far in their defense.
Ramen going to be coming off the backboard, trying to get out to Spoods.
Oh, he's awkward.
But it's all up to Kipper now, and Kipper makes a great save there to deny Solus any action on the net. Tashiga going to try to recover something, but Spoods is there to get it out yet again. Aqua passing it back to the backboard. Now Kipper yet again is going to touch it out, going to keep it up, try to get it out of their side. 2 minutes and 30 left. Saints are still in a comfortable position, but another goal could definitely give them a little bit more confidence and a little bit more comfort going into the rest of this game.
Yeah, they definitely looked a lot more on the back foot as of recently. That's a great demo, but unfortunately Tashiga just wasn't able to slot that one through her. I believe that might have actually been Aqua. Now has to try to take the 50 and does very well on Spoods there. Look at this 1v2 that's happening. The flick should be able to force another one up, and there it is. Aqua able to slot the final shot home. I immediately noticed, look at the rotations right there. You have Spoods and Kipper going back from both sides, and Ramen, he's kind of left in no man's land. Gets bumped out, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about that. A really well done play there from Wichita State, noticing St. Clair threw too many eggs in one basket.
It is indeed just a great play to always pull out of your back pocket. It works when you've got 3 players on the field, but you know what also works is a little bit of control. Tashiga's taking a little bit of it, pop it up now. Try to get back onto it, but no Spoods are going to get it under him. And now might be able to get over Aqua. No Aqua's going to be able to get control. And now, with TD Taka pass back and forth, Ramen's going to try to get something active. No one's going to leave him to Spoods, and now Spoods going to take it to the corner. Or Kipper taking it to the corner, try to pass it out to somebody. Does not meet Spoods just yet, but they've still got a lot of time. Kipper finds the jump over one, but now one has to be back for the save, and it's Spoods to keep it alive.
Well, who else other than Spoods to give the Saints a little bit of shielding defense? And right now, St. Clair, they're trying to move back out, but I'm seeing it a lot as sometimes they're just missing on the wing and it's allowing for overcommits that result in 2v1s in transition for Wichita. St. Clair, they just have to watch it a little bit, and I think they just have to just play a little more cautiously. But for now, Wichita State seeing what they can get done on the offense. Kipper just clearing it back out. Spoods, he is 0, so he has to just try to go for a low 50, but it's going to be Solus who puts it over him, and now Kipper, or Ramen more, sorry, trying to go for the low 50 again. Just trying to see if he can find a centering ball. Kipper's going to work on that right there. Solo play, a good 50. Bounces back up, but it should be handled pretty easily. Toshiga has a strong test that he needs to pass, but does so very well off the backboard.
Solo's going to try to get this around Kipper. He does. Has another touch onto it, but doesn't have a lot of boost. So that's going to lead Ramen to be able to get into their corner where Spoods is ready. Going to try to pass it down to Ramen, but does not connect. They still have a lot of time here. 10 seconds on the clock. They got to kill it, or they got to get it down the map before it can get into their goal. As 0 seconds hits the clock now.
This is a
Pass
good setup.
out to Spoods off the backboard. Gonna try to get it in. No! Kipper doesn't find it, and now we hit overtime.
Well, you know what? Kipper had that double lined all the way right up. If that backboard defense doesn't come through for Wichita State, this one's done, dusted, over in the books. But right now, St. Clair, they don't want to give them any room or time to breathe. You have to be unrelenting on the offense because you know that you've been able to beat them in the tempo when it goes fast. A huge double save there as well. Kipper couldn't get the force home, but Aqua's in such an awkward position. Has to U-turn, dodge the bump, and still somehow gets the save for Wichita.
Shiga gonna try to control it a little bit here. Gets it over one, but gets over himself. Now Aqua's got the touch onto it, leaving it down to another. Bounces beautifully onto it, takes it controlled to the wall. Doesn't have a lot of boost though, so Spoods is gonna be up for it. He's gonna be over to Shiga. Someone else has gotta be there. Kipper is there. Doesn't get a good touch though, but now Aqua has control. Ramen to try and keep it alive onto their side. Shiga is in the air now, and Spood's going to try to cut that off as quick as he can. Possibly try to pass it out to one of his teammates. Does almost get it to Kipper, but Kipper cannot find the connection.
You know, it's just so tough, especially with Ramen going downfield. You need to hope that Spoods is back for rotation. He is, but he can't find the dunk. And now this should leave St. Clair in a little bit of an awkward position. Both players getting a little bit low on boost before Spoods comes through. And now Aqua, potential for a good dunk, but this is a double. It's open, and there it's found by Kipper. He slots it home and confirms St. Clair's series lead goes up by 2.
The chosen one has risen to his potential, finding the goal in overtime. St. Clair have now taken a pretty comfortable 2-0 lead so far, and you know what? They are looking stellar so far on the aggressive end.
Yeah, they definitely are. You know what? I'm very happy to finally see Kipper working on the offensive side of the ball a lot more than the defensive side, that what I'm used to seeing. So, you know what? Shout out to Ramen and Spoods because they're clearly enabling him to do what he's best at. And I think that so far from what I've seen, I'm a fan. Rotations are looking a little bit sloppy at times. I know that sometimes, I mentioned it earlier, how sometimes they overcommit a little too much on the wings, and then as they're trying to pull back, it leaves people or the third man in a 1v2 scenario, and it's kind of awkward as well because the other two don't have boost. But if they can just kind of drown out those scenarios from happening too often, this should be pretty comfortable. They look very good so far in this series.
I mean, definitely cutting out those small mistakes is just going to take a little bit of teamwork. And you know what? You have to have that one cook in the kitchen that you're going to let make the absolute banger meal. And so far, it has been Kipper. And Spoods and Ramen have been great so far, shining themselves and then also igniting the rest of the team. I mean, we look at it right now, all three committing on the defensive end to try and deny Wichita any chance of getting a lead here. And there's Kipper yet again to get a great save, but Solus is going to keep it on their side. Down to Aqua, trying to get another, but no, Spoods is going to be there.
Right, well, I mean, St. Clair, you worry if sometimes on some of those double commits, if they find any follow-up shots going through, how they're going to deal with it. But so far, they've answered to that call of action, and now Aqua, with control, tries to get it over Ramen, but Ramen has read into this play. A good beat there. Spoods off double has a reset. Can he find Ramen down low? Yes, but a great save from Solus keeps Wichita kicking.
You know, I love to see St. Clair Academy going for these double plays right now. You know, one connecting to the other to just slot it right in. but that is also a negative because that leaves just one person on the defensive end. And if that one person doesn't have enough boost, doesn't have enough good positioning, that could lead to a goal on the other side. But now, ball's still over on Wichita's end. They have to get this out soon, but Kipper might look to put it in the net instead of leading it back over to his own side. Solo's going to be able to touch it.
It's
Now
a little
off to
bit
the
weird.
wall. Absolutely a weird touch, but no, Spoods is going to be able to take it to the side. Leave it for Kipper now, banging it all the way down for Aqua to keep controlled off the back net. Great defensiveness so far out from both teams, able to control the ball, and as we see here, Kipper could have definitely just banged it out, but he's going to keep it controlled, going to go for the ceiling, definitely has a flip reset, does not yet, no,
He's trying to go for a
trying to
pogo?
go for a pogo. Very creative so far on the St. Clair Saints Academy side.
Well, you know what, Kipper? It's just unfortunate. You're just not him. Sorry. I hate to say it, but it's just tough. Anyway, decent solo play opportunity there. You have to hope. If he did hit the pogo, that would have been absolutely nothing short of incredible. But double commit right now from Wichita State to Shiga. Has to pick up the slack. Aqua off the backboard. A little bit of a weird touch, and this should just be waiting for Spoods, but no, off the backboard. When you think Aqua's out, always comes through with just enough boost to make the defensive play. We still are drawn 0-0. I don't like these deep clears, though, from their own corners that I see Wichita doing. It hands the ball back over to St. Clair ACAD, and it grants them follow-up opportunities wide. It's definitely not the solution to a winning problem.
You know, you do want to respect the other team, but you don't want to give them too much respect. You want them to work for their money, to work for the bang of their buck. And right now, as you said, there's been a lot of long clears, and a lot of players have been given these opportunities for a little bit of free. But right now, they have a good opportunity. Wichita on the attack. Spood's going to be able to get it over one, leaving it now down to Kipper. Might look to flip it over one. He does. Gets it over the second. But does he have the pass out? He
That's a
does.
great
But nobody
catch.
is there to connect. And now Ramen has to try and keep it there with two attackers to deal with. Solus going to take it up. But Spoods has a great flip reset off of the ceiling to keep the contention there. And now Ramen, a great way to take it over to his corner. A beautifully comfortable spot the Saints always love to be in.
Right now, Spoods with control needs to try to find the dunk and has left it for Kipper. Kipper over one. Does he have the double? It's just barely able to reach it. Can't quite get there in time. Aqua off the ceiling's going to leave it back down for Solus, and now Spoods with the chow. It frees up Ramen as Kipper's trying to get involved. It's a good demo. This one should be on target. It ends up being a pass anyway, and no matter what, whether it's a miss or a recenter, Kipper is always there just in case for safety measures.
Something that I've noticed a lot with our academy team is there's always somebody there for a safety, and whether it's just to stay up close in the mid to try and pass something if it hits the crossbar, or trying to dive for something preemptively if they can figure out where the ball's going to go and they know it's going to be defended. That's something that is both risky and very well done so far from the Saints, because missing that does leave you in that 1v2 or 2v1 or 3v1 scenario on the defensive end. And now Wichita trying to mount another aggressive attack, but it's going to get right over Aqua, and Spoods is just going to find a high riser to take Saints 2-0.
You know it's tough. You use that boost for the speed flip to try to rotate around, but Spoods just hits the greatest chip shot of all time. I mean, it's unfortunate, and Aqua just didn't have enough in the tank to try to redirect it. Maybe even got called off by his third man, but regardless of the scenario, it didn't matter at that time. St. Clair, they have their safety net of 2, could potentially take series or match points. But right now, that still remains to be seen for the next 25 seconds. Wichita State, they need to create something now, but with Kipper using these touches to just drown out the offense in the time, it's very unlikely that anything for Wichita State will happen. It's a great team play. The demo comes through, but unfortunately the shot just not found out in Spoods. The air control can be left to Ramen. Shot attempt goes down, and it doesn't have to be a goal. It just needs to burn time. Kipper says, screw it. Let's put one up again anyway. Give me my brace. And give me series point, grand finals point. St. Clair ACAD, just one game away from completing the sweep.
Indeed, and in this grand finals, they are definitely feeling the positivity right now. They are feeling the confidence coursing through their veins as Ramen tries to go for another one just to end it out on an even better note. But you know what? 3-0 is still an amazing way to finish out a game.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I think that that game a lot a lot of the focus to me on where St. Clair got a lot better was just defensively, not stacking up or double committing. They looked a lot more comfortable being on the back foot, and it allowed them to have a lot more clarity in the rotations on defense. And again, didn't
Indeed.
really see them get too troubled, minus maybe the double save that Kipper got off the backboard the one time, but
Hmm.
minus that, not really many opportunities where Wichita State, in my opinion, had St. Clair defenders in awkward positions to take advantage of on attack.
No, and that's just great from your communication, and that's how you figure out if they're communicating on this stage and trying to watch them and see, are they actually communicating? I know we can't actually hear them, but seeing that rotation, seeing that great defensive line, that iron wall to deny any kind of aggression to slip through, under, over, left, right, center. That is what needs to be done in a game like Rocket League. It's a different kind of discipline that you need to learn in this threes format.
Absolutely, but you know what? Game 4, potentially the series. This is where champions are made. Will St. Clair ACAD be able to rise to the occasion? So far, they've done a pretty damn good job of doing so, but there's still one more left to go. And they say the hardest part of a best-of-7 series is closing it out, but in a reverse sweeping fashion in a best-of-7, who knows? Wichita State, they're going to need some magic to pull it off.
Indeed, and they've got time to do it, but do they have the confidence? Have the last 3 games in a row over to St. Clair shot their mentality? That's what we're going to see in this game, and right now it looks like Kipper on the Ramen on the aggression with Spoods as well to help him out, trying to shatter a little bit more of that mentality to get this game in their hands for 100%. Kipper going to take some control over here to the wall, going to touch it again to leave it out to somebody. Looks like Spoods going to be able to get there. Now down to Ramen, taking it up to the corner. Might look to 50 him out. A great hit there from Spoods, but Solos is going to take control, get it over Kipper. And now Kipper and Spoods back to play the defensive role that they have been shining in so much, but Tashiga is going to try to put a stop to that.
And again, Wichita State is trying to create offense, but look at how clean St. Clair looked defensively. I mean, it just seems like there's always someone in a perfect position to deal with the oncoming traffic with enough boost as well. A team pinch off the reset? Are you kidding me? Spoods, that would have been incredible. The musty now from Aqua. Mechanics being shown on full display. The air dribble bump trying to come through, but Kipper does a good job of avoiding that. And now Spoods, with the clear out, can try to assist his teammate in getting rid of this offense. But Wichita State, they're definitely pulling out the mechanical stops for this one.
Yo, Patrick, we got to take notes on that team pinch right there. We got to apply that to our own games, but that's for later. That's for after this game. Once we get this underway, Solus
100%.
trying to pass it out to Aqua, and it does connect. We see some light at the end of the tunnel right now for Wichita with a great team play there. A great demo from Solus. Opened the goal widely.
And they just need more of that. You know, if you can't catch St. Clair in poor positions, you need to force that yourself. Solus does a really good job there of opening the shooting lane, and now Wichita State, they're cooking a little bit. The reset attempt is going to be caught back out from Kipper, but I was honestly going to say that the follow-up shot is the more dangerous thing to watch out for. Spoods reset will get over Solus, but Kipper, low boost, has to take a low 50 and now leaves it to Ramen. Grabbing that corner is going to be very key, and the clear out happens to Shiga. Not giving St. Clair any time. Wants to get this one back into the danger zone immediately. Solus is just going to have to wait, though. This ball gets taken off of him from Aqua. St. Clair, a little bit awkward right now as 2 of them are on near post. Actually make that all 3 as Spoods can't get the backflip to go through. And finally, St. Clair shows gaps in their defense.
You know, St. Clair, I can say one of the things they've definitely been doing is they've been riding the momentum. They've been riding the vibes, and it's been working for them so far. But let's see what they can do in just over 2 minutes left with their foot attack. Their back's against the wall. They're 2 goals down. They have to make something now, or else Wichita look to take game 4. And that's what you have to start with. It's a horrible stake on the side of Wichita, but a great start for St. Clair Academy.
You know, it's just tough. Solus just trying to find a center ball. Toshiga just wrong place, wrong time. No one's fault. It's just an unfortunate turn of events, and also the fact that none of them have boost to even deal with it. St. Clair, they take that one laughing all the way to the bank, but they're still down. Don't tell me this is another opportunity for St. Clair very quickly. They scored a second one. I would almost question if Wichita State would be mentally chalking or not. This air dribble, Kipper's able to deal with. Spoots in the back corner off the ceiling, trying to find Ramen down low and will do so. The centering ball going to be picked back out from Tashiga. Air dribble attempt, looking for the 50 on the pinch. He's going to find it. Demo goes down and Aqua needs to try to find the beat, but Ramen's there. The ball waterfalls back down and it would not have mattered. Kipper there once again. He has an eye for scoring this series, and he's found one yet again in the back of the net.
You know, I think the start of the play there was definitely Aqua passing it up over to Ramen. Needed to keep more control there than rather trying to bounce it up, but you know, it was just due to positioning, due to where you were in the moment, you couldn't get the optimal touch there, and then that led Ramen to pass it all the way down over to Kipper, who was just able to punch it right in, and now trying to punch another one in. Spoots trying to mount something, a little bit of a pinch off the top, flip into it, almost finds the goal, but all it will find right now is the crossbar.
You know what, that would have been your highlight goal of the series, and like I said, Spoots, he's a player capable of creating those highlight moments, but Ramen, trying to see if he can get another one on the board. Aqua going to be able to make that save, but Wichita State, they were up 2-0, and all of a sudden, 2 unanswered. They haven't been able to park the bus. St. Clair, they've put on the parking brake, and they're not letting Wichita State move an inch on defense. Ramen off the sidewall, has to take another 50. He's going to get beat out. Potential here for Wichita State, but well done by Spoods on the backboard. I told you about how composed he is as a defender, and usually doesn't let many opportunities that come there slide.
No, he doesn't. He seems 10 for 10 so far off of the backboard. He's going to pre-jump this and slot it in the net. St. Clair Academy have taken the lead now, and that was a really risky play there. You know, Solis could have gotten a great touch off of Ramen trying to pass it out.
Yeah.
And then you would have had Kipper left on the defensive end, but you know what? Fear not, Spoods is here.
Well, you have to take risks sometimes if you want to be champions, and St. Clair, they show that they're definitely not afraid of doing so. This has gotten them their lead off a pre-jump, and will that be the final nail in the coffin? Will St. Clair ACAD, in sweeping fashion, become your NACE Varsity Plus champs? 12 seconds left to go will be all that decides that. Wichita, they need to create an offense. It's a big pre-jump, but 2 have committed. The call-off goes down. It's a huge beat by Ramen. This one should just slot the floor. It's up, though, Solis. It's not going to happen. St. Clair, they just need to clear out. They've done a beautiful job of doing that all series. The ball is still up. They're keeping it there, but that will be the final touch. The ender from Ramen, the confirm. And Saints ACAD have won your NACE Varsity Plus Grand Finals.
Congratulations to the gentleman. You know, you put on a stellar performance. We had conversations about it, you know. We had 2 chefs in the kitchen, and you know what? They cooked something up that was scrumptious. It was so great to watch. They were working together as a team. We saw great team plays. We saw great defensive plays, and definitely the one to highlight there on the defensive end was Spoods. I mean, 10 for 10 for 10 off of the backboard, had control every single time, and was able to get it farther than the midpoint every single time.
Yeah, I think something that's very dangerous is since Spoods is such a good defender on the backboard, a lot of people, they don't take into account what he can also then do on the clear, right? If you're using these backboard touches to then create air dribble opportunities, you have a flip off that wall. Hitting the ball with that just alone, let alone following up for a 50, can immediately get that ball to, at minimum, your midfield. It's very good because it doesn't only buy St. Clair space, it buys the other 2 in Kipper and Ramen time to grab boost, regenerate boost that they were using to rotate back, that they were using on the defense, and then from there, Spoods can just rotate as third man and leave the offense to those 2. And Ramen and Kipper, that dynamic duo on the offensive side of the field, were cooking all night.
I have to agree with you that the touches from Spoods off the back was a great way to add into them, like Kipper and Ramen being able to get some boost, because we saw time and time again, there were so many aggressive plays there. You know, the ball was bouncing all around. It was going as fast as it could, and it's only a amount of time until someone trips over their own foot or gets a bad clear or gets a bad landing onto the ground, and that leads to a great opportunity for whoever is attacking to be able to slot one into the net. And that's where I think St. Clair kind of struggled. But you know what? Nonetheless, we're not going to talk about the negatives here. We're going to talk about the positives. They're your grand champions for the Varsity Plus NACE League.
They definitely are, Theo. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to get you into this a little bit more. There you go.
I've had a great time.
You know what? I gotta say, that is easily the best I have seen our ACAD Rocket League roster look, at least on stream. From you, what did you take away from it, if anything, just noteworthy from what you saw?
Well, obviously, we have a couple players on the team that are very composed in these high tense scenarios.
Yeah.
And they were able to show why earlier in the season these two teams went to a game 5. It was about as close as it can get today. Just a clean sweep 4-0 and amazing performance. They played beautifully. They trained their whole season for this. They peaked at the right time in the grand finals, and a much deserved victory and celebration gonna ensue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, something that I saw on display a lot more, this is for both of you, is I remember I was talking to Press, Pedro, the head coach, and something he's really trying to ingrain in all of his players was supportive defensive play, right? Always making sure that you are having your teammate on your back to make sure that even if you lose the 50 or the challenge, there's someone there. And it felt like in those opportune moments for Wichita State, even if they got the beat, St. Clair, they always had someone back if it wasn't a fast break in transition at the right time for the right moments. Again, I know this isn't the same game, but for other esports in general, just playing that supportive role and playing that supportive play style, not only just in the server, but even outside of it, what can it do just as a team knowing that your guys are there to have your back?
I mean, it's awesome. In games, there's often, as I said, other esports where there are supporting players. There's people that are supporting those supporting players. So it's very important for the whole team to be clicking. You need to really, especially in a game like Rocket League, trust your teammates. You need to believe that they're going to be where they're supposed to be at the right place at the right time. That's what allows these smooth rotations, and that's what allows the Saints to play beautiful Rocket League like they did today.
I mean, we saw it. That's what they definitely played, and in a different world, in a different universe, if they weren't trusting each other, if they were just going into this thinking, you know what, we're the grand finals, we're the best ever, just going into it with the biggest egos that they could have had, it wouldn't have worked out the same way, because that's not how you play a team sport like Rocket League. Even though it may be a video game, the same principles apply. You have to work together, you have to trust each other, and you have to be able to communicate with each other.
Absolutely. I don't think you could have said it any better. If I were to pick out an MVP, I want to hear you two first. I want to hear your MVPs and your reason why. Theo, I'll start off with you, just going general and broad, and then we can work into some of the nitty-gritty after.
I mean, it could go to anyone. I think the whole team played really, really well. But, I'll give it to Kipper today because, I feel like he played good and you could give him the MVP.
I would have to partially agree with you there, because while looking back at it, thinking about how the entire games went, I definitely think Kipper was one of our star shooters. What I also have to say is my heart has been won by Spoods, because I've been in those situations where the ball is just about to get in front of the net or my teammate's just about to pass it to me, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to back up. I'm just going to let it play out. I'm not going to take that risk. I'm just going to play it safe. For him, he's playing the kind of play style that I want to be playing in my Rocket League games. He's playing aggressive. He's playing risky. He's taking those chances. And you know what? Even though he may fail at some of them, he gets back up and he gets even riskier the next time. So I have to say my MVP goes out to Spoods.
Yeah, you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'd agree with you. But I think I just have to go with my boy, Jake Legui Kipper. He had such an amazing performance. Let's see who our MVP is right now as we have it unveiled. And I think my reasoning behind this is just because of how offensively sound he was on the day. There you go. I mean, through 4 games, you have 8 saves, 7 goals, 1 assist. He got it done literally everywhere on 14 shots as well. So he was all over the pitch. And while he wasn't the one necessarily feeding opportunities, he was definitely the one in creating them with the saves, and then on transition, finishing them as well. He was just in the perfect place at the perfect time, and honestly, you couldn't have played a better series yourself.
Indeed, I mean, and look at those shots as well. Great shots around
Insane
the entire
offense.
the
Just
end.
so much pressure.
You know what? I hear we're also going to get a shot ourselves at getting an interview with the Kipper himself. We're going to get him on here. Mr. Kipper yourself, how are you feeling? Grand champions now of NACE Varsity Plus. What's going through your head?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I did it last year or last semester with. Hello, hello.
Yeah, we
There
can
we
hear
go.
you.
Yep,
We
we
can
can
hear you.
hear you.
Sorry.
I just had to make sure. Felt. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep,
too.
yep.
You're
It
good.
just keeps cutting out.
Oh, okay.
No, I felt good. Feels good. Did this last semester, and yeah, we couldn't be here without the other two guys. So
Well, you know what? I was going to say, I've seen you go on quite the journey, sir, when it came to looking at how you guys were performing last semester and early on to this semester. What do you think on this ACAD roster has been the biggest change that's been implemented ever since Ramen, the newest addition to this ACAD roster, has jumped on? And how has that made you guys improve as a squad in total?
I mean, it was kind of hard because at the first we had me, True, and Fatal, and then right after Christmas break, completely swapped. It went
Yeah.
to me, Spoods, and Ramen, and yeah, it was pretty big of a change, but it was a good change. So feeling good to be here now, and yeah, now we're champions. So
And a good season for you guys ended off in the best way possible. What was like the biggest thing as a kind of newer group playing together, working together? What was like the one thing outside of game that mattered the most to leading to your success?
just having good vibes when during comms. Vibes were off. Even there, it was still good, but bro, like.
It's okay. It's okay.
We can hear-
We
we
got
can
a
get
we got a
this.
couple
Oh, God.
tech issues. We know who to blame in the
Nah,
back
it's
room
good,
about
bro.
that.
I know.
Whoa, no,
So-
we don't blame any of
We-
our
we-
back
we-
room for
okay.
anything.
We love our back room. I'm sorry, back room. But you know what, Kipper, to have one more question now, I just want to throw this out to you guys. What have you got to say to Spoots and Ramen right now? You know, you guys coming together, working together to get this championship under your belts. As a team player here, what have you got to say to your boys?
I'm just gonna look at them because they're right here. But hey, do you guys want to come in? Come to the camera. I got the mic. Yeah.
I believe one of them don't have the jersey, I think is what I'm hearing, but
Hey, Ramen's coming up here. Hold on.
oh, there we go.
Yeah, get in here.
There, yeah, just if you want to be the translator, Kipper, just as we see Spoods and Ramen there, just let them have their 2 cents. Like, what do you think to them the best part of the semester has been, and just gelling together as a team? What was their favorite part of so far this year?
I think the best part about playing with them was it all came together. We set on one play style, and it was just like go like green flag right from the start. Just hard go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's that simple. I mean, you
Does-
guys have known each other for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I mean, yeah, sure. I can take the mic. You want to say anything?
face.
or just me? Oh, yeah, good. I think start of the semester we were figuring some stuff out. Like Jake said, we hadn't really played together before, so there were some nuts and bolts that we had to crank out. But no, overall, I think it ended good. Vibes were good for us the whole year, so yeah, we had fun for sure.
Absolutely. Well, do you guys have anything else to add, or is that all from us?
That might be it.
I think
Yeah,
that's
you
gonna
got-
be
you
it.
got anything? Or
Dude,
what?
yeah. Anything that you guys will say, Ramen?
You know, I came into this semester. I didn't think it was going to be like that much fun, but I played with Ben before. I played with Kipper. It actually turned out very fun. I'm glad I really did it. So, thank
Yeah,
you guys.
absolutely. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kipper, as well. And, well, go enjoy being NACE Varsity Plus Grand Finals champions.
Yeah, we will.
Absolutely. So, guys, that's going to be all from us here on the desk as well. What a series, at least for us, for Wichita State. Well, it's fine. We don't talk. But for Saints 4-0 sweeping fashion, the boys got the job done. A little bit nostalgic as well,
Yeah.
as you remember, Theo, we used to be casting these guys, so nice to see them crowned as champions in their division, and well, we can only hope that things go positive from here.
Yeah, very, very good job by them. But I think that's going to be it for us today. Ladies and gentlemen, what a stream it was. Saints come out victorious. They take the 4-0 win and take the grand finals. Thank you to our sponsors. We have St. Clair CRC, St. Clair Alumni Association, Subway, Tim Hortons, and Alienware. Thank you to everyone involved, everyone in the back room. I got my two boys up here on the stage, Wyatt and Patrick. We're going to be back here tomorrow with a Call of Duty Grand Finals. Our Academy team is going to be featured on stream yet again. And then for the weekend, obviously, we have SGS Overwatch. So a lot of fun coming up on the Saints broadcast. With all that being said, I've been your host, Theo the Holy Juan. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be seeing you right back here tomorrow.
Confirmed as Aqua, Shega, and Solus, and man.
St. Clair Academy not off to an ideal start.
Well, it's just unfortunate, a little bit of a mistake. You know what, I mentioned it before, how Kipper sometimes gets drowned out and put on that third
Attacking end, and when they do, they get on point, almost on point there from Ramen, but luckily
they establish their equalizer, but how long will they be able to keep it for? That is
majority of their goals early on.
Oh,
St.
great
Clair have been
demo.
able to come back, and look at that.
Boots
Great.
on ball, should have the open lane. This should be an easy ground pinch slot and over. You know what? It's a good read by Solus here, but at the same time,
Spoots going up for it, gets it over one, off the ceiling, doesn't have another touch, but great job. First game, and now St. Clair is saying, you know what, we can take a quick one ourselves. Ramen was just
immediately noticed, look at the rotations right there. You have Spoods and Kipper going back from both sides, and Ramen
Series
kind of
lead
goes up by 2.
The Chosen One has risen to his potential.
Safety measures.
Something that I've noticed a lot with our academy team is there's always...
You know, it's tough. You use that boost for the speed flip to try to rotate around, but Spoods just hits the greatest chip and give me series point grand finals
right
point.
now for Wichita with a great team play there, a great demo from Solus.
Shows gaps in their defense.
You know, St. Clair, I can say one of the things they've definitely...
You know, it's just tough. Solus just trying to find a center ball. Toshiga just wrong place, wrong time. We're scoring this series, and he's found one yet again in the back of the net.
You know, 10 for 10 so far off of the backboard. He's going to
Huge.
pre-jump this and slot it in the net.
Confirmed as Aqua, Shega, and Solus, and man.
St. Clair Academy not off to an ideal start.
Well, it's just unfortunate, a little bit of a mistake. You know what, I mentioned it before, how Kipper sometimes gets drowned out and put on that third
attacking end, and when they do, they get on point, almost on point there from Ramen, but luckily
they establish their equalizer, but how long will they be able to keep it for? That is
majority of their goals early on.
Oh,
St.
great
Clair have been
demo.
able to come back, and look at that.
Boots
Great.
on ball, should have the open lane. This should be an easy ground pinch slot and over. You know what? It's a good read by Solus here, but at the same time,
Spoots going up for it, gets it over one, off the ceiling, doesn't have another touch, but great job. First game, and now St. Clair is saying, you know what, we can take a quick one ourselves. Ramen was just
immediately noticed, look at the rotations right there. You have Spoods and Kipper going back from both sides, and Ramen
Series
kind of
lead
goes up by 2.
The Chosen One has risen to his potential.
Safety measures.
Something that I've noticed a lot with our academy team is there's always...
You know, it's tough. You use that boost for the speed flip to try to rotate around, but Spoods just hits the greatest chip and give me series point grand finals
right
point.
now for Wichita with a great team play there, a great demo from Solus.
Shows gaps in their defense.
You know, St. Clair, I can say one of the things they've definitely...
No, it's just tough. Solus just trying to find a center ball. Toshiga just wrong place, wrong time. We're scoring this series, and he's found one yet again in the back of the net.
You know, 10 for 10 so far off of the backboard. He's going to
Huge.
pre-jump this and slot it in the net.
Confirmed as Aqua, Shega, and Solus, and man.
St. Clair Academy not off to an ideal start.
Well, it's just unfortunate, a little bit of a mistake. You know what, I mentioned it before, how Kipper sometimes gets drowned out and put on that third
attacking end, and when they do, they get on point, almost on point there from Ramen, but luckily
they establish their equalizer, but how long will they be able to keep it for? That is
majority of their goals early on.
Oh,
St.
great
Clair have been
demo.
able to come back, and look at that.
Boots
Great.
on ball, should have the open lane. This should be an easy ground pinch slot and over. You know what? It's a good read by Solus here, but at the same time,
Spoots going up for it, gets it over one, off the ceiling, doesn't have another touch, but great job. First game, and now St. Clair is saying, you know what, we can take a quick one ourselves. Ramen was just
immediately noticed, look at the rotations right there. You have Spoods and Kipper going back from both sides, and Ramen
Series
kind of
lead
goes up by 2.
The Chosen One has risen to his potential.
Safety measures.
Something that I've noticed a lot with our academy team is there's always
You know it's tough. You use that boost for the speed flip to try to rotate around, but Spoods just hits the greatest chip and give me series point grand finals
right
point.
now for Wichita with a great team play there, a great demo from
Shows
Solus.
gaps in their defense.
You know, St. Clair, I can say one of the things they've definitely
No, it's just tough. Solus just trying to find a center ball. Toshiga just wrong place, wrong time. Scoring this series.